The phone call came exactly at 8:00 a.m. on a Tuesday, the kind of call you wait for your entire life. It was my son, Michael, 35, calling from New York, his voice buzzing with excitement. "Dad, I'm getting married. Her name is Serafina, and she's absolutely perfect. We're doing a destination wedding in Italy next spring." For a moment, I, Victor, 63, a recently retired college history professor, felt a wave of pure, paternal joy. Michael was my world, and his happiness meant everything. I immediately started planning the trip, ready to offer financial help and emotional support. Then, he emailed me a photo of the engagement party, a large, professionally staged shot of the happy couple. Michael was beaming, holding the hand of a woman with strikingly sharp features, an unnerving, familiar intensity in her eyes, and a predatory smile that seemed to know 1,000 secrets. I zoomed in on her face, my blood running cold, then hot with sudden, blinding panic. The photo wasn't just of Michael and his fiancée. It was of Michael and Serafina Volkov, a name I hadn't spoken, or even dared to think, in 35 years. Serafina was the beautiful, manipulative, and absolutely ruthless woman who had methodically dismantled my life back in my 20s, ruining my career, draining my bank account, and almost ending my marriage to Michael's mother. The woman standing beside my son, ready to marry him, wasn't just a Serafina. She was my Serafina, impossibly unchanged and carrying the same malicious energy I remembered. She was my biggest nightmare, resurrected, and now she was about to become my daughter-in-law. This wasn't coincidence. This was a targeted invasion. Was I wrong to immediately conceal my past from Michael, fly to New York under the guise of wedding planning, and use my deep, terrifying knowledge of her history, the secrets, the aliases, the legal troubles, to launch a full-scale operation to expose her true nature, regardless of the potential damage to my relationship with my son? Tell me, if your son brought home the person who destroyed your life 3 decades ago, would you stay silent to keep the peace, or would you risk everything to save him from a fate you knew was inevitable? My name is Victor, 63. I was always the meticulous, academic type. Serafina Volkov entered my life when I was 28, a struggling graduate student, and she was a dazzling, seductive art history major. She was intoxicatingly beautiful, but utterly devoid of morality. Over 18 months, she ran a perfect con, claiming to need money for a sick relative, convincing me to invest in fraudulent schemes, and finally, using forged letters to sabotage my application for my first major teaching position, crippling my early career. When she vanished, she left me financially ruined, professionally disgraced, and emotionally shattered. It took me years to rebuild my life, marry Michael's mother, and secure my career. I never told Michael or his mother the full story, burying it as a dark, shameful chapter. Michael, 35, is a successful software engineer, kind, trusting, and terribly naive when it comes to people who want something from him. The photo confirmed my fears. Serafina had barely aged, and the look in her eyes, that calculated, hungry intensity, was identical. She was a professional black widow, and Michael was her next target. I learned that Serafina, now supposedly a high-end art dealer, had meticulously inserted herself into Michael's professional and social life over the last year. She was 28 when she conned me. She was now in her early 60s, presenting herself as 52, leveraging her preserved looks and practiced charm. The age difference, though suspicious, didn't seem to bother Michael. I fabricated a story about needing to check on catering options in New York and booked a flight immediately. My mission was twofold. First, to confirm her identity beyond a doubt, and second, to gather irrefutable, public, facing evidence of her current criminal activities that Michael couldn't dismiss as the ravings of a paranoid old man. My past was my weapon. I knew her aliases, her preferred methods of extraction, and, crucially, the names of 2 other men she had ruined in the intervening years, which I had tracked quietly online. In New York, I didn't contact Michael immediately. I found her gallery, a glossy facade in a high-end district. I visited it under the persona of a retired academic looking to liquidate a family collection. The encounter was chilling. She recognized me immediately, not with surprise, but with a flicker of annoyance, quickly masked by her flawless professional veneer. "Serafina," I said, my voice steady, using her old name. She smiled, a perfect empty gesture. "I think you have me confused with someone else, sir. My name is Alara." "No, Serafina," I insisted, leaning in close, keeping my voice low and venomous. "I have you confused with no one. I know exactly who you are, what you did in '90, and I know exactly why you're here. My son is not your retirement plan." Her composure finally broke for a microsecond. Her eyes narrowed to slits. "Go home, Victor. You have no proof, and if you breathe a word to Michael, I will make sure he never speaks to you again." That threat was the confirmation I needed. The war was on, and she had just issued the challenge. I immediately contacted my most trusted associate from my academic days, Dr. Anya Sharma, a renowned forensic genealogist and research expert. I needed to move fast and be utterly silent. My plan was precise: the paper trail. I tasked Anya with digging into Serafina/Alara's financial and legal history over the last 3 decades, focusing on marriage, divorce, aliases, and any unreported income or property fraud. The witnesses: I anonymously contacted the 2 other victims I had tracked, an architect and a lawyer who had been left financially devastated by Serafina's schemes in the late '90s and early 2000. I offered them full anonymity and legal protection if they would agree to document their experiences. The bait: I knew Serafina's current operation involved selling forged, high-end art. I needed to catch her in the act. Using a pseudonym, I arranged a meeting with her, offering to sell her a rare, fake 17th century French painting, complete with expertly fabricated provenance documents. The price, a cool $500,000 in cash. So that's the situation I was in. My son, Michael, was engaged to the woman who professionally ruined me 35 years ago. I had confirmed her identity, received a direct threat, and now had the backing of 2 other victims and a forensic expert. I had set a trap, a high-stakes, covert art deal to catch her selling forged goods on tape. I had 3 days until the fake deal was scheduled. I had to decide how to present the resulting evidence to Michael without simply destroying him with the sheer shock of his fiancé being a criminal. Before I tell you about the chaotic, final sting operation and the total destruction it brought to Serafina's life, I want you to pause and comment below what you would have done in my shoes. Would you have given Michael the evidence privately, or would you have arranged a confrontation where Serafina was forced to expose herself? I chose the confrontation route, but it had to be orchestrated perfectly to protect Michael from direct emotional collateral damage. If I simply handed him the evidence, he would reject it as my jealousy. He had to witness her true nature. Anya delivered on the research. She uncovered 3 aliases, 2 fraudulent marriages, both ended when she stripped the husband's assets, and a pending Interpol investigation related to stolen European artifacts. The sting was set for Friday afternoon at Serafina's gallery. I arranged for a trusted former student, posing as my personal security consultant. To wear a covert body camera and record the entire transaction with the fake French painting. I then did the hardest thing. I called Michael and asked him to meet me at a cafe 2 blocks from the gallery at 4:30 p.m., 30 minutes after the scheduled sting, to discuss the wedding budget. At 3:00 p.m., my security consultant, Mr. Thorne, entered the gallery with the fake painting. The hidden camera was rolling. Serafina/Ilara, eager for the $500,000 cash deal, quickly examined the fake documents, authenticated the forged signature, and agreed to the sale, assuring Mr. Thorne the item would be discreetly moved through channels. The consultant, feigning confusion, asked if the item needed to be checked for authenticity before the cash transfer. Serafina, utterly confident and arrogant, scoffed, "This piece, it's a gorgeous fake, darling. My entire business is built on beautiful lies." The camera recorded every damning word, complete with her signature on the bogus bill of sale. At 4:30 p.m., I met Michael at the cafe. He was happy and distracted. I pulled out my laptop, set it on the table, and hit play on a video file. "Michael, I need you to watch something before we talk about wedding funds," I said, my voice tight. The video started. Michael watched the scene unfold, his fiancée, beautiful and composed in her opulent gallery, confirming that she deals in gorgeous fakes, and that her entire business is built on beautiful lies. Michael's face went white, then gray. He watched until the consultant left and Serafina was alone. "Dad, what is this?" he whispered, horrified. I then hit play on the second video, a compilation Anya had prepared. It showed the 2 previous victims, the architect and the lawyer, giving calm, detailed testimony about how Serafina Volkov, using 2 different aliases, had ruined their lives with identical financial and professional cons. "Michael," I said, my voice breaking. "Her name isn't Ilara, it's Serafina Volkov. She's a professional con artist. She ruined my life 35 years ago. She's here for your assets, and she's about to get arrested for the art fraud you just watched." Before Michael could even process the full horror, the chaos arrived. The police, whom I had alerted immediately after securing the beautiful lies footage, arrived at the gallery. The sirens, faint at first, grew deafening as they pulled up to Serafina's building. Michael rushed out of the cafe and saw the flashing blue lights outside the gallery 2 blocks away. He saw the police leading his fiancée out in handcuffs. The climax was swift and total. Arrest and ruin. Serafina was arrested for the art fraud. The Interpol file and the 2 previous victims' statements ensured she would face severe charges and could not post bail. Her gallery was seized. The breakup, Michael was devastated, but seeing the arrest and the evidence simultaneously left no room for doubt or denial. He ended the engagement instantly. The heartbreak was immense, but he was safe. Family healing. I finally sat down with Michael and told him the entire, ugly story of my past. He was angry at first, not at me, but at the deception Serafina had woven. The truth, finally, set us free, and our relationship was rebuilt on a foundation of honesty. Serafina Volkov, the nightmare from my past, was finally off the streets, and her professional Black Widow career was over. The cost was the worst day of Michael's life, but I saved him from the financial and emotional destruction that would have lasted decades. Like this video if you believe knowing your enemy is the best weapon. Subscribe for more stories where the past comes back to haunt the wicked. Share your final thoughts on Serafina's beautiful lies in the comments section below. I'll see you all in the next story.